Are we alone in the universe? Want to bring in some official government sources here. Tim Burchett, a congressman in the Knoxville, Tennessee area. Congressman, how are you, sir?
I'm great, brother. Thank y'all for having me on.
What have you seen that makes you so passionate about this topic at all?
Well, seen a lot. Some of it I can talk about, some of it I can't. But I've said all along, this thing is not about little green men and flying saucers. This is about the government. It's about transparency. The government not showing us what they have. I sit in these rooms with this dude with a man bun telling me that these things don't exist. Yet they will not release the files. They will not release redacted reports. They will not release at least photos to the American public, maybe some that I've seen or some of my colleagues have seen in the skiff. And it has all the markings of a government cover-up. There's a lot of things involved. Arrogance. We don't need to know. We don't have a right to know. Yet we're spending tens of millions of dollars. And you got to realize, too, the war pimps at the Pentagon they can't account for over $500 billion, and they've never passed an audit. Never an audit. It's not unpatriotic. I'm not against the military. My dad fought in the Corps in the Second World War. Heck, my mama flew an airplane during the Second World War. She lost her brother fighting the Nazis. So I'm patriotic. My wife is a Navy widow. My daughter's deceased biological father was a Master Chief on a Navy sub. I love our military. I love our fighting men and women. It's not about that. It's about government bureaucracy not letting us know what they have and what they're using our billions of dollars for, literally.
You say it's not about, the info here is not about little green men. What kind of even thing are we talking about, if not little green men?
Well, we are. I think we're talking about extraterrestrial. I think we've got sworn testimony from patriots, literally. And I talked to one of our former top pilots, and literally in the world. When you talk about top pilot in America, it means the top pilot in the world, because nobody stacks up against our men and women in uniform, and telling me that this craft flew within 14 feet of his canopy. Now, what is it? And people are going to say, oh, it's secret military stuff. Well, we would not risk the lives of our fighting men and women in a $500 million aircraft that have been trained at the cost of multi-millions. We would not risk their lives in something like this. So something is going on. I've had admirals sitting in my office before telling me something's going on. Some of the top men and women in the country have seen things and they're not, and when they do, I've even had testimony. I've talked to pilots that have literally had to destroy things, because when they fly back, if they see something and it's reported, and that right there is the Tic Tac videos, not TikTok, but Tic Tac, not like the Chinese communist propaganda media machine, but it's literally, if you turn it one way, it's shaped like a Tic Tac candy. That was filmed, one of our top Navy pilots, yet the government said those things don't exist. And then they said this film doesn't exist. Well, it was leaked, and I'm pretty sure I might know who leaked it. But and then they said, well, it's a phony. And then the pilot who was there said, no, in fact, I was the one it was my plane, and I've talked to these people. So what do they got? Why won't they let us know? I have the top clearances in the world, and yet I'm denied access to this stuff. And the public's getting aggravated, and they should.
Is there an argument, Congressman, that we can't let the American people know what this stuff is because it will freak them out, and it's a bad look to admit that our government and our military, the best in the world, isn't like, can't compete, if you will, against a technology that can zoom in, zoom out.
I've heard all those arguments. I've had those meetings, in a hallway where somebody pulls me off to the side and says, Burchett, man, we don't need to be letting this stuff out. People are not going to be able to handle it. And I'm a born again Christian, and they'll tell you that it's going to disrupt the religious, mainstream or whatever. But honestly, do you think we're the best that God can do? We're literally, I go out every night and I look at the stars. My dogs always have to go to the bathroom. They never seem to want to go to the bathroom in the middle of the day. They always want to go out when I'm asleep in the middle of the night. So I go out, I look at those stars. In the vastness of God's universe, these stars, the light you're seeing is so far away that some of those stars don't even exist anymore. Brother, we are just a grain of sand on a billion beaches. And honestly, I mean, again, you think we're the best that God can do? I sure don't. Genesis 1, God created the heavens and the earth. And then you go back to Ezekiel chapter 1. Ezekiel saw the wheel. There's historical documentation. You go into the hieroglyphics. You go all over the world, and there's craft that have been drawn on side of cave walls, inside pyramids, things like that. And I mean, honestly, I'm not afraid of it. I'm not afraid of knowledge. I'm not afraid of, if they had this kind of incredible technology, they could have ended us a long time ago. And I'm not afraid of it, but I am afraid of a government that does not fear its people. And that's currently what we have right now.
On the Christian side, we're going to talk to Pastor Doug Wilson coming up next to answer some of those big questions too. I guess my last question for you, Congressman, is what would it take in order for this information to ultimately be released?
Yeah. Well, now this isn't a government employee, but one of these private contractors, because what they've done is they've handed it out to major industry. There's probably 4 or 5 major contractors, you could guess who they are, that would have this information or this material. And they might not even, the people that are around it don't really know where it's from. So they've given it out so it's unfoilable. You being in the media understand Freedom of Information Act, you request these things under government entities, but I can't in a private enterprise. So these contractors technically, are not government entities. So either going to have to take one of those scientists, walk out with undeniable proof, showing us where, taking us in and disclosing it, or a commander-in-chief with enough guts to release this stuff. And that's and I think it's ultimately going to have to be a commander-in-chief that says, I'm not doing it anymore. You all are going to have to bring this stuff out. And that's what it's going to take.
Nothing like this has ever been done before. It's called Politics by Faith with me, Mike Slater. We are bombarded with news all day long. And I don't know about you, but it makes me anxious and worried and all these not good feelings. So in Politics by Faith, we take the news of the day, we lament the brokenness of it, and then we take the turn and we give you a biblical or historical perspective. And hopefully that will bring you some peace so that you can fall asleep at night and reminding you of what is in your control and also what is not. Hopefully this will change our perspective of how we look at the stories of the day. Politics by Faith, it's available now everywhere you download podcasts. Politics by Faith with Mike Slater.